Hello everyone, Assalamualaikum and a very good afternoon. Yes, we've cut short the intro because I am not cooking today. I'm going to do something a little bit different, still with my Thermomix of course, because as most of you all know, I am the branch manager for Diva Aromas and I sell Thermomix proudly. Normally I would do a cooking show with my fellow partners, the other divas, or I will have a closed Zoom to demonstrate the full most of the features of the Thermomix and how to cook with it. But today I'm going to do something a little bit different. It is the unboxing of the Thermomix TM6, and I've decided to do this live because normally I do this with my partners on Sunday at 9 a.m. But because I've got a fashion show to MC, I thought I'll just do this and have this on record. So in case any of our Diva customers decide to purchase one or have purchased it and are receiving their unit soon and would like to refer to an unboxing, at least you have this, all right? So once again, hello everyone. I'm gonna go right to it. Now, what is inside your Thermomix? You'll find out in a bit. This is, of course, a smart all-in-one gadget that basically has about 24 features and growing. It's a device that does almost everything. So let me tell you what it doesn't do, okay? It doesn't bake and it doesn't deep fry. It does focus on nutritious, healthy meal prep and cooking, and that's what the Thermomix is all about. But we're going to be talking a little bit more in depth about all the accessories and how to use the 3 cooking methods, which is the CookieDo, which is an integrated recipe platform that comes with your Thermomix, or rather you have to subscribe to it, but it has a 6 months free subscription. And then there is the manual cooking as well as the auto modes. Now, if you're watching this over my Instagram page, you would probably see just my neck. Okay, so if you would like a better viewing experience, do head over to my YouTube or my Facebook page at Daphne Iking. Okay, oh, it's all right. For some reason, the one that I see over here is like this. See? Macam nampak saya punya leher saja. Okay, sa keluar dulu dia bilang and then masuk balik. All right, anywho, let's get right to it. So this is the Thermomix, and what you will find inside is this pamphlet, right, that you see also on your screens. And then you should write down your name, your CookieDo email address that you will register with. You don't have to use the same email address that you give to the advisor when you purchase your Thermomix, okay? Kenapa saya macam semput ni? Nampak sangat saya tidak fit though. And then you have to write down the CookieDo password just in case, because now that borders have eased up, I'm sure a lot of you want to travel, so you can bring your Thermomix with you on your travels. I definitely and highly recommend you doing so. And if you are, changing Wi-Fi to another Wi-Fi when you're moving around, then sometimes you might need to re-register, or not re-register, sign up or sign in or log in to your CookieDo account to access your CookieDo. So in the event that you forget your CookieDo password, it's good to just write it down somewhere, and I would recommend putting it in this pamphlet, okay? Writing your advisor's name, okay? Most advisors would be around, but just in case, life is such. And this Thermomix can last for generations, so if your daughter ever inherits your Thermomix, then at least she will know who to contact, if anything happens to her Thermomix or she needs to ask questions, right? Advise the contact number, your order number, delivery date, and the unboxing date, okay? So that's what you would do. Now, upon receiving your Thermomix, your advisor would have sent you an unboxing YouTube video, and you can watch that. It's done by the Thermomix headquarters. And I'm going to go into that, but into more detail. But if you have no time to go for, like a proper unboxing session with your advisor, that would be suffice. However, I would still prefer my customers or my divas to just have a 1.5 hour session with the advisors to find out how you can optimize using your accessories and to make sure that your safety as well as the maintenance of your Thermomix is at the most macam tip-top condition lah. Kamu jaga ba kau punya Thermomix ni kan, habis kau beli kan, kau invest sudah, kamu jaga dia sampai kau punya anak beranak cicit-bicit ba macam tu. Ada kah cicit-bicit macam tu? Alright, so to set up your CookieDo account, all you have to do is type the URL directly to your device or on your laptop, your phone. It's cookiedo.international. Enter a valid email address and create a password. You may record these information on the cover page of the guide so you won't forget. Choose, if you're living in Malaysia or Brunei, choose either Malaysia or Brunei as your country of residence, and then go to your sign up email to activate the account sent by CookieDoo. Okay, so this CookieDoo will be able to, you would be able to save all these recipes and collections, and I'm going to show you just how to do that. Okay, so let me just go back to this screen. So once you've already signed up, you will go into cookiedoo.international, and then you will log in or put in all your login information. So I've already done that. And the first thing that you can do is you can go to your account and view your profile, and you can actually change or edit the name of your Thermomix. So in this case, I've written Porn Star because that's my nickname. And you can put whatever you want. If you want to put your real name, or if you want to call it, like I call my Thermomix Mo. So if you want to call it Joe, you want to call it Siti Nohaliza, it's up to you. If your name is really Siti Nohaliza, then okay lah. But you know what I mean. If you want some Michael Jackson, you can go crazy, because it will appear, once you switch on your Thermomix, it will appear as, hi, Siti Nohaliza, hi, Porn Star, hi, Joe Lebosi. Okay, so you can personalize that. You can even put your picture. However, the picture doesn't appear on the Thermomix unit itself, but it will appear on your CookieDoo account. Okay, and then what you want to do is, if you have a cooking style, you can actually sort of select your preference. In this case, let's say I like vegetables, so I'm a veggie lover, because then later on, the CookieDoo will sort of help filter or recommend recipes that are of your preference. Okay, so you can do all that. You can update your filter, and this is where it gets fun. So if you want to look for recipes, so when I purchased my Thermomix, that was last year, early during the first MCO, there was about 50,000 recipes. Right now, there's about 75,000 recipes, and it is growing. Okay, so this is an integrated recipe platform. There's no need for you to have cookbooks anymore. It's all there, a library of all these wonderful international dishes from all around the world, as well as Asian dishes, and it's just at the tip of your fingers. So how do you search and save those collections? Well, you can just press on the search button, and let's say you want to look for a recipe. Let's say because my husband just yesterday was saying, can you make me Cornish pastry? So let's just find out. Yeah?
Pasties.
Oh, pasties, is it?
Yeah.
Okay, let's just search for Cornish. Is this the one? Cornish pastries? Pasties. Oh, pasties. There you go. So there's a few to choose from. This is in English, so this is perfect. And yeah, I can scroll down. There's the ingredients, the preparation, nutrition at the same time. It also has some hints and tips, which I normally always read beforehand. And then I can say either if I want to cook it today, I can just put cook today, or I can add it to my week. So I'm going to be busy the next few days. So maybe I will make this dish for him on the 2nd, because I think on the 2nd of November I'm a little bit free, so I'll save that. So I can save that, and I don't know what the ingredients. Do I have all those ingredients at home? I can add it onto my shopping list. And if I wanted to see my shopping list, because you know we've got our sugar, we've got our salt, but what don't we have? So you can sort of choose the ingredients that you need to list down over onto your shopping list, and you can actually send it over and share it over WhatsApp or email, and then pass it to the person who will be doing the shopping for you. In this case, it'll be my husband, or else I'll just keep it in my phone, and then at least I've got everything there. I know exactly how much ingredients I need. There's no more second guessing. And if I'm planning the whole week, my meal plan is done for the whole week, then I know exactly what I need to purchase, and from there I don't waste any ingredients, because sometimes you go like, saya rasa agak-agak 500 gram tu susu saya perlu. Alah, kalau saya takut saya belilah 2 tin macam tu kan. In the end you're not. Well, in my case we drink a lot of milk, but you know, you get the drift, right? So you're always ensuring that you actually shop for what you really want, and there's no wastage. Okay, so that is recipes. You can also search for collections. So collections are, think of them like your mini recipe books. Okay, so they've got macam-macam kat sini. You can also filter it into soups, pastas, categories of what sort of dishes. If what Thermomix version do you have? In my case, I've got TM6. What country or region? So if you want to narrow it down to English, then you would choose countries that would normally speak English, like Australia, US, England, not England, UK, and stuff like that. Okay, so you can also filter it down, but I'm okay to actually go with all sorts of recipes with different languages also, because if you are on Chrome, you will have on your device the ability to, or that you can actually see it can be translated from Spanish to English, and you can choose that option. What I do is I'll screenshot it and I'll save it. Let me just show you an example, okay? Let me just, let's say the collection that I'm looking for, because Halloween is just around the corner. Why is this not, sorry. Okay, let me just do that again. Let's go and search for collections. There's recipe, there's collections, and I want to look for something to do with Halloween. Okay, and you will see a vast array of collections here. And I'm just gonna simply pick one here. And you can see that it's in I think it's in Spanish. And it does give that option to Spanish to English. Do you want to translate? So I would normally just screenshot it, but then I will save it or save the recipe. Let's say I'm taking the momias de holdre salchichita. Okay, I'm definitely saying it wrong. Then I can add it onto my collection and my week. I've already added it to my collection, sorry. I can add it to my week, or I can choose to cook today. And then later on, it will appear when this syncs to my Thermomix, as long as there's stable Wi-Fi. The information that I've already saved over my device will be automatically synced to my to my unit, and then everything's hunky-dory, okay? So that's exploring recipes, exploring collections. You can also personalize your cookie dough. There's also really, really interesting articles. And for instance, again, say I am keen to know more about sous vide, okay, because I'm not so familiar about the cooking method. And you can see all these articles that come in different languages that also appear, and you can read it along the way, okay? So this is just a snippet of what the cookie dough is all about. And I would suggest you downloading or saving or bookmarking these collections: Asian favorite mixes, the kneading, Let's Go Mama. They've got the two new collections also, high temperature, which enables you to toast your peanuts and bilis, because remember, this machine or this device doesn't deep fry. However, it does have high temperature, and it will be able to brown your meats. It will be able to caramelize your sugar. It will be able to really give you some really nice crispy toasted peanuts and bilis and garlic and shallots and stuff like that. So that's a new collection. It's called High Temperature, Asian High Temperature, as well as the other one is something to do with sugar. Asian sugar. It's basically desserts, Asian desserts, and you can go crazy. There's so many other collections that you can go crazy with, right? So that's about the cookie dough, and I will show you how we cook with the cookie dough in just a bit, right? So what can you see over your device or your web or your phone versus what you'll see on your TM6? So there is the only thing that you can't do using or your cookie dough over your TM6 is it can't add recipe to your week when you're on your unit. It can't share your recipes as well as save your collection. But other than that, you will be able to add recipes to cook today, to bookmark, show your shopping list. You'll be able to search for collections. So that's the only difference. I like to scroll through my cookie dough and go through all the recipes, collections and stuff at night, and then I'll just start saving, and I start planning my meals for the whole week, and that's what I like to do. And then automatically, when the next morning when I'm using it for breakfast, then it will automatically sync, right? So that's the only difference between web versus the TM6. All right, so what's in your Thermomix box? Upon purchasing it, depending if you've purchased it via installment plans or full payment. If you've paid with full payment, then you will have an additional gift. But all Thermomix will come with these, all right? A simmering basket, the splash guard, the butterfly whisk, measuring cup, the spatula, the Thermomix TM6 with a complete mixing bowl set, including the lid, the base, as well as the knife. And then you've got the Varoma set dish tray, as well as the lid that looks like a spaceship, okay? All right, you also will get your manual. All right, you've got your manual book. And this basic cookbook, which is not just a recipe book, but it also is a very resourceful, handy guide for you to look up when you are cooking manually. So let's say you are steaming your vegetables or your meats and you're not quite sure how long you need to steam those meats for, then you can always refer to the back at the resources, which is just here. So, yeah, I've already actually sort of like used there you go. And it will show you all these different functions and how long you need to set your time, temperature, and speed accordingly. All right. So don't think that, oh, the basic macam tu. It's very, very handy and you should keep it safe. You will also have this, the Perfection with Thermomix in 7 Days pamphlet. And it offers you all these recipes that you can try if you are still berjinak-jinak dengan your Thermomix unit, because some people like macam saya takut. I do have some customers who are not as technologically inclined, so they get a little bit nervous at first. So we would always highly recommend using these guides, because it will enable them to go through most of the modes and cook via Cookie-Do or guided cooking, or using the manual cooking with all these recipes that you're already familiar with. I'm talking about like something as simple as cooking eggs, making one pot carbonara, killer toast, sous vide, etc., etc. All right. All right, so upon receiving your unit, you want to check everything. So those are the accessories that you have. And then you need to find a perfect spot for your Thermi, okay? Place your Thermomix on a clean, flat, solid surface. You want to make sure that it's it's somewhere safe, on a counter, a kitchen counter. Wherever you're going to be bringing your Thermomix at least. And then you need to plug it into a socket, as well as it has to be within Wi-Fi range, because when you are setting it up for the first time, especially, you naturally want to put in the Cookie-Do, log in with your Cookie-Do account, and then most times there will be software updates, because this TM6 is constantly upgrading itself with the software. So you want to make sure that your Wi-Fi is stable, all right? And please remember, please do not drag your Thermomix, because the scales of the Thermomix, yes, it is a weighing scale as well, is on the feet of the Thermomix. So you want to lift and not drag your Thermomix, okay? Now you can fully extend the cord. I can't show it to you now because it's at the back, but you can fully extend the power cord to 1 meter until you see like a red tape or a red marker. And then you can plug it directly to a direct power source. Now for advisors who are watching this, tak kisahlah di Varomas ke team lain, tak kisah. I just want to make sure that everyone does not do the same mistake as I did. When you are doing face-to-face demos, most times you would have to bring an extension cord just in case, because when you're conducting a demo, you're not going to be in the kitchen most of the times. You're probably going to be doing the living room or somewhere where a lot of people can see your demonstration comfortably, right? So try and get an extension cord that has the power surge. Is that what you call it, baby? The one that is the same. Yeah, the power surge extension cord. So keep that inside your bag. And this is also the same for users who will be traveling with the Thermomix. So get that. Just invest in one, a really good one, because ideally you want to plug your plug into a direct power source. Okay. All right. So when you set up, you will then press the selector dial, which is the silver tombol over here. So it will take about 5 minutes initially for the initial setup. You just press and hold it for a while, and then you just follow the instructions on your startup screen. Select your language, either English or Chinese, if that's more of preference. Country, Malaysia and Brunei. Connect to your Wi-Fi that you have, your hotspot if you're using a phone. And then you log into your account or your Cookie-Do account that you've already signed in. You will get 6 months free trial for the first 6 months upon registering with your Cookie-Do account. And then there will be some safety messages, so go through it, because you want to learn how to look after your Thermomix best, right? So go through it. and just go through that. There will be a software update. It might take a while, especially since recently we've had a few more updates with the machine. So, and especially if your Wi-Fi is not that strong, so it might take a while, but just leave it there. Just now, 10 minutes before going live, I had another software update. This is my second unit. So I barely use this one. This is only for my demo set. And I was a little bit gabra, but it was after 10 minutes. It was just fine. And here we are today doing my unboxing with all of you guys. All right. So for the software update via over the air, it requires a strong Wi-Fi signal, and you just place it near your router if possible. Ensure there's uninterrupted power supply till the update is complete, and the screen shows the homepage, which is this. This is to enable your TM6 to fix any bugs as well as to improve any existing features that it may have. All right. So in your package, you will find again the base unit, your basic cookbook, your mixing knife, instruction manual, the mixing bowl, mixing lid, your measuring cup, the butterfly whisk, simmering basket, splash guard, varoma set, spatula, as well as the mixing bowl base, right? So for those users of the TM5, the only thing that is not compatible with the TM6 would be, of course, the base unit, the mixing knife, as well as the mixing bowl, okay? So these are the only things that will not be compatible with your TM5, all right? So these are some of the top usage tips. You need to place the mixing bowl gently on the base. So this is how it's done, all right? This is the lid. Now, when you receive your unit, of course, it'll be in a plastic, right? And when you're looking at the accessories, the first thing I want you to do is to check all your accessories. If there's any funky dents or you think there's a little bit fishy, something's a bit fishy about the accessories, just take a picture or a video and send it over to your advisor, because they will be able to advise you best. Because after a week or so, if you notice like, got koyak over here, got chalar over here, then it's probably going to be hard for headquarters to change those accessories. Okay, so do that first. And you notice that I said all those accessories, but you're saying, where's my simmering basket? So upon switching on the dial selector, when it finally is switched on, then the locking arms will, this is the locking arms, will then unlock itself. Then you can open up the lid and you will find your simmering basket inside, okay? All right. So that's a simmering basket, and we're going to go into all these accessories one by one. So the first top usage tip is place the mixing bowl gently on the base. So what do I mean by that? So don't go through the front. Go from up to down when you're placing it, your mixing bowl onto the base, all right? And you have to be really, really careful, because these are sturdy, the locking arms, but this is also the lid sensor, so you don't want to knock on those, right? Especially when you're having like more than 3 kilograms inside your mixing bowl. It can be a little bit heavy, so always remember to lift it up and place it down on the base and not from the front, okay? Or taking it out from the front. That's the first thing, okay? Now, what else is important? Okay, another important thing to remember is everything, all these accessories except for the base, of course. This one, you just wipe it with a damp cloth when it gets dirty. Is everything here, including the base, can be washed, and it is dishwasher friendly, all right? The only thing that I don't want you to do is, there is the mixing knife, and I'm going to show you how to assemble and disassemble the bowl in just a bit. Don't leave it soaked in water for a very long time. And that's why when you're doing slow cook or you are doing sous vide, it will always encourage you to put a bit of lemon juice or some ascorbic acid into it to prevent oxidation of your mixing knife, okay? So below here, we've got like 5 pins, all right? So just take a kain kering, a dry cloth, and every time, make it a habit, I make it a habit, even though this is dry, I always make it a habit to dry the 5 contact pins before I place the mixing bowl onto the base. Okay, so that's another thing that I wanted to highlight. And use only a clean and moist cloth when you're wiping the base unit. And this is another thing, because this Thermomix logo, mahal kan. Kita beli sudah Thermomix, kita mau tunjuk lah ba ito brand logo Thermomix. I'm just a jenis yang suka bersih. I go and bersih, tenyel, and then my Thermomix now become thermo. So you just wipe ni gently, okay? Because lama-lama dia boleh keluar juga tu stiker bagian ni. So yeah, just wipe it carefully. I've actually used, I use a stainless steel Norwex cloth to make my mixing bowl nice and creamy. But you can also use baking soda with some lemon juice. Some use vinegar to keep it shiny. All right, let's go one by one. I'm gonna go into the accessories in this. Let's focus on me first. Let's go one by one first, all right? So let's talk about the mixing bowl. This is your mixing bowl. It is, it can fit about 2.2 liters of ingredients, liquids and foods inside. You will see that inside they have markings of 501, 1.52, and then 2.2 liters, which is the maximum of liquid that you can put inside this bowl. You can actually fit an average sized chicken inside this and make ayam golek, okay? I kid you not, all right? So this is the handle. You've got the mixing knife inside. It does withstand high heat. It has this high temperature icon, and I wanted to focus on this because later on, it's easier for you to remember, especially if it's your first time trying to assemble and disassemble the bowl. There's a groove at the base of your Thermomix, all right? Your mixing bowl, sorry, this is the base. And what I would do is I would turn so that the base punya muncung, all right? This muncung, I don't know what you call a muncung in English, will be just directly below the high temperature.
The tab.
A tab? Okay, a tab. Tab. Would be just directly under the high temperature icon that is on your mixing bowl, and that's my indication of, okay, how do I close it, how do I open it? I usually use that as reference, okay? So you can just remove it. If your mixing bowl is new, it will be a bit tight, but however, as you continue using your mixing bowl and the accessories, then it will be looser and it'll be much easier to remove, okay? To buka. So don't worry, if it's a little bit tight, don't worry. And how you would, so this will be removing the knife. You just remove the knife like that. All right. So the mixing knife, let's go into the mixing knife. The mixing knife has 4 blades and it can go clockwise and anti-clockwise depending on what mode you're going. If you're going on reverse mode, then of course you go in reverse, and that will sort of stir or mix your food or your ingredients without cutting it or chopping it because it's on the blunt side. And then they've got the sharp side when you're going clockwise, and it has different heights. So again, a reminder, never ever soak your mixing knife, especially overnight, because once it goes black, you can't go back, girl. So don't do that, all right? And how you insert your mixing knife into, a little bit late, but it's all right. How you insert it is you just place it into the lobang kat dalam tu, and then just give it a little twirl. And then remember, the bucu of the base goes directly under the high temperature icon. And then I normally do it on the surface of the table. So it just goes there. Again, make sure that the knife is snug inside. Okay. And then you just turn it. Okay, hold on. All right. So just make sure that it's fitted. The knife is fitted inside. And then you just turn it all the way till the handle dekat sini. And again, it might be a little bit tight, but eventually it will get looser, but not to the point where the ingredients are gonna be spilling out, okay? Another method of removing the knife, because you wanna clean your knife, kan? Especially when you are cooking things that are sticky. Bayangkan that this is like a thermal mat or a silicone mat when you are doing your baking or you are kneading. And what you would do is, so you've got your dough inside, and then you just go to the groove of the base and then just turn it so that the bucu will again meet on the high temperature icon, and then the knife would fall off, okay? So I've done this on a mat because when you're doing this, normally the dough will sort of soften the blow. You want to look after the knife because Yes, this is also very penting. It does all the mincing, the blending, the mixing, the stirring, the sautéing, the blending. Did I just say blending again? For you. So you want to look after it, and it's very sharp. Okay. So that is about the mixing bowl as well as the mixing knife. This is how you should hold the handle of your mixing bowl, because then it will allow, especially if it's heavy, it won't hurt your wrist. So you can just pour it like this. And I am going to show you now how to go about opening your lid. So first, this is the mixing lid, and you'll notice that there's a bit of a lobang here, and they have these high quality silicones that surrounds it that will be able to seal your lid nicely and safely when you are doing your cooking or blending or whatever you're doing with your mixing bowl with your Thermomix. Okay, so how you put it on is you just letak dekat atas. Okay, just place it. You can just turn the handle. You don't have to tekan so much, because later on when you are starting, let's say you are going in, it will lock. The locking arms will then lock your lid carefully. Okay, so that's that. Now let's say you're cooking your hot ingredients inside. When you remove your lid, I would always go, so I would be in front, right? Right now I'm at the side because I'm doing this demo for you guys. But I would always lift my lid to the side, and then I would use my spatula to scrape whatever ingredients. Okay, I'll show it this way. That's the camera's showing there. And then I would scrape all the ingredients out first, baru I keluarkan. Don't open it up like this, because the steam to your face might injure you. We don't want that. So let's just take precaution and do it from the side, depending on your left or right, or what we're more comfortable with. Okay, so this is your mixing bowl lid. When a recipe asks you to place the measuring cup onto the mixing bowl lid, this is your measuring cup. This measuring cup is a measuring cup of 50 and 100 ml inside. And how you would insert it if they're asking you to put the measuring cup onto your lid or inside your lid is you take the sharp pointy part of your measuring cup, and then you just dive into the hole, and it also serves as your mixing lid handle. All right, I hope I got that okay for you guys. So again, I would just dive in. So there's a bit of a pointy area at the base of your measuring cup, and just insert it into the hole, and voila, it's done. All right, so that would be your measuring cup when it's being asked by the guided cooking or manual cooking to insert your measuring cup onto the lid, so that it sort of makes sure or ensures your ingredients don't start splattering out. You would also notice that there is a bit of a gap, all right, in between the measuring cup as well as the lid. And this is perfectly fine because it allows a bit of steam to vent through. And this is also great because let's say if you are making egg soup and you want that drizzle egg effect, right? You can actually like whip a bit of your eggs and then you can pour it onto your lid here and it will all drizzle down nicely. You can also have like some recipes will require you to have maybe they want to put in, you know, a substitute of wine, perhaps apple cider or red wine or white wine into your dish. You can actually pour it here and then it will slowly drop down or drip down nicely into your ingredients while it's still mixing or sauteing or doing whatever it's doing while it's preparing your meals, okay? So that's another thing. I also use this to separate my egg whites. So if or my egg yolks, so I would, you know, just pecahkan the telur and all the egg yolks will be above here, down below will be my egg whites, and then that's how I can separate my egg whites and my egg yolks, okay? So that's about the lid as well as the measuring cup. I know I forgot something, but I can't remember what it is. It's okay. I'll probably remember in just a bit. Now, we've got the measuring cup. Now let's talk about the splash guard. This is a splash guard and it's normally used when you are cooking high temperature meals. For instance, if you're making your ikan bilis, you're toasting your ikan bilis, your peanuts, your shallots, your garlic, or whatever it is, it's also another way to prevent the ingredients from splattering out, but it also enables a bit of hot steam, hot air to come out. Okay, so you just place it again onto the lid just like that. Make sure it's aligned, because we want to make sure it's aligned. And then if you notice, when you put it on, the locking arms will then sort of lock your, well, not exactly, but it will still leave it ajar, but it will sort of keep your splash guard safely up there. Okay, so this is about the splash guard. Let's talk about the butterfly whisk. So this butterfly whisk, it serves as your pengacau nombor 5 dan 6. Okay, so it's great when you want to whisk cream, or you want to whip your eggs into what do you call that? Meringue. Okay. You would also use this when you're making your batter, like banana cake, butter cake, so that it'll be really nice and soft and fluffy. I make this a lot with my muffins. When you're making char kway teow or your nasi goreng, then you would use this, because it will also prevent the ingredients from not sticking, especially when you're doing it on a slower speed. You can't use the butterfly whisk as well as when you are using the simmering basket above speed 4. And just as a reminder, just in case you do forget, like Daphne Eye King, there is an indicator really close to the bottom of the butterfly whisk, and it has the indicator of maximum speed 4 there. And how do you put it on? I think it's easier if I show you how to put it on if I remove the knife. So bayangkan, then it's easier for you to see actually. So bayangkan, this is your knife inside your mixing bowl, okay? So look for the highest blade of your mixing knife, and then place your butterfly whisk at the left side of the left or right? Left, right side of the highest blade, okay? In this case, it'll be here actually. There you go. And then it doesn't lock per se, but it should fit in snugly. Sometimes when I'm cooking my nasi goreng, I have to sort of push the ingredients away and then try and put the butterfly whisk safely inside, secure it first. It doesn't lock, like I said, but at least you will notice that it won't go flying off. The only reason why mine has flown off is because I went a speed too high. I wasn't using guided cooking. I was trying to do it manually. And that's the danger. This is actually a new butterfly whisk that I got for my incentive. But the original one has a bit of a dent here because it just flew off. So you don't want your butterfly whisk to wing away or to fly away, okay? So that's how you put it on. Imagine that this is inside the mixing bowl. The same thing for this cover blade, which is actually out of stock. This is the only accessory that doesn't come inside your box. You can purchase this, but it is currently out of stock, and they will come out with a new cover blade with a peeler, so it can also peel your potato skin and stuff like that, but it's not going to be out so soon. I hear it's going to be early next year. So some people have asked me, Daphne, saya mau beli itu blade peeler. Saya pun mau beli tapi tiada. In fact, my friend is in UK right now and in US. She's got family there, and she can't find the blade peeler either. So the same way, if you're going to be using this, and this is normally used when you are doing sous vide, then you also look for the highest blade of your mixing knife and just place it on the left side of the blade. All right? As simple as that. And then you can just remove it. Okay, so we've spoken about the butterfly whisk. We've spoken about the lid, as well as the mixing bowl, the knife, how to assemble and disassemble your bowl, because you need to do this. Some people say, tidak maulah, saya malas, ada pre-clean mo. Tapi kan kadang-kadang you will have some ingredients stuck in between your knife, and you want to try and get into the underneath of your knife with a brush like this one, or you can find like the straw brush or your baby brush, and that can like remove all the gunk outside. Because I have heard horror stories of customer service receiving units that are faulty, and they bring in their mixing bowl, and once they remove it, they've got so much gross ingredients stuck in between the knife and the base, because they've never actually opened their or disassembled their bowl because they don't know how to, or they were just lazy, I don't know. So that's very, very important. Okay, so make sure you clean it. Of course, if it's like just biasa, you're doing lemonade, then you can just rinse it out, or you can, if it's something like dough and it's not that oily and not that gross, and you're going to be using it for another meal that requires, it's not going to be that crazy, I would just use the pre-clean mode, and I'll show it to you in just a bit. Okay, so this is the mixing bowl, mixing knife, the base. I've spoken about the lid as well as the measuring cup. I spoke about this. Oh yes, now let's talk about the simmering basket. So the simmering basket is something that I would use to cook my rice. I'm a big fan of cooking my rice using the Thermomix. You don't need a rice cooker anymore. And because of this method, where you place, let's say, maximum of 350 grams of rice inside, and then after you chuchi, so you chuchi already, it becomes like a little strainer, right? You just pop it inside your mixing bowl and then pour in the water. So here's a little tip. If you are using jasmine rice, then put the level of the water the same as your rice. But if it's something more hardier, like, what's the rice that we have, Papa? The parboiled rice, or basmati rice, or brown rice, then you want to add at least 1 cm of water higher than the rice, because then it will take a longer time to cook it, right? Or to boil it in this case. And don't waste it. Don't waste the water, because after that, dia cuci, lepas tu, you will get your spatula. I'll get into that in just a bit. And then you remove your rice or your simmering basket from the mixing bowl. And you will notice that there's a lot of starchy water inside. I would normally keep it and cool it down, and then I water the plants, because apparently it's very, very good for the plants. Some even swear in using it as a facial toner. I've never actually done that. I've actually just poured it all into my plants. And some have used it to thicken their soups, or when they're making stew, they use it to add on so that they don't have to use any kanji anymore, the corn flour. They use the leftover rice water instead. Okay, so this is great. This method of cooking your beras is actually so much more healthier because it's lower in GI, and especially if you're someone who is
I think that's
diabetic.
A bit gross that you use as a facial toner.
Do you know that there is a skincare in Japan, or
I
is it
don't want
Korean?
to smell your rice, okay?
No, it's
I want
that
to
smell.
Eat rice.
I know,
I
but
want
they
to
use
eat
that, and
you,
that's why
but
they're like so
not
cantik
rice
and
on you.
gebut. So I don't know. To each in their own. But I've never tried it. But I've heard of people using it as a toner. All right. Now let's go back to and this. So you can also use this simmering basket to cook your potatoes or any other delicate ingredients. I know I think the salmon uses the salmon sous vide that you can find over your 7-day perfection plan. It does use a simmering basket, so you can just use salmon after you've sort of marinated. You can put it into a sealed vacuum plastic, which is BPA friendly, or food friendly, or sous vide friendly, and then you can place it into the simmering basket so that it will prevent your delicate ingredients it's still keeping it intact. Okay, so I love the simmering basket. And if you're making lemonade, or you can also use this as a strainer. Let's say normal cases, I do my unboxing with a few more partners, because then we can sort of take turns in showing a little bit of cooking at the same time. But I'm doing this solo because it's like a express version. So let's say you're making lemonade and you've got all your lemon rinds inside, and now you want to strain the lemonade. So what you would do is you would take the simmering basket, right, with the mixing bowl, and let's imagine that this is your glass of water, and you can just pour it. So this acts like a strainer at the same time. Isn't that wonderful? Just how multi-usable these accessories are. Okay, so now let's talk about the spatula. So this is the spatula, and this is the only spatula that you would use when it requires you to insert your spatula into your mixing bowl, because as you would notice, there is the knife inside, and while it is mixing your ingredients, say for instance you're making your ice cream or you're making your meat noodles, it will say, okay, insert the spatula, and then just let it and just let it, just mix it a bit, or it will mix by itself at the same time. It has this safety disc to prevent the spatula from going all the way into your mixing bowl and then injuring the knife. It also has the hook, which enables you to take out your simmering basket when you're cooking your rice, or you're using it to whatever, your potatoes and all your other delicate ingredients, and you're holding it like this. Of course, I'm doing it the wrong side because I'm not left-handed, but for the benefit of the camera, so this is how it looks like. So it's quite comfortable. So again, you hook it onto your simmering basket like that, and it should handle your simmering basket quite firmly. All right. The good thing about this also is that it has, like, if you think like when you're going through your accessories, like, why isn't this a perfect round? Why isn't it a perfect circle? It's purposely flat on these two sides because you would, when you are placing your spatula onto the surface of your counter, you will notice that, I don't think you can see it from here. Okay, you can. Okay, I'm sure you can see it from here. You will notice that the edge of the spatula won't hit the counter, so it's cleaner that way. It won't roll off, because imagine if it was all circle, then you're going to be rolling off the counter, so it doesn't want to do that. So it's really, really clever German technology that we have. They really thought through the whole accessories part. And you will notice that there is the softer side of the spatula and the hardier side. So what I normally do is, if I'm scraping down ingredients, so there are, when you're cooking, using the guided cooking, scrape down the ingredients on your mixing bowl, then you can just scrape through, and I use the softer side. But if I am trying to scoop out ingredients where it's nearer to the blade, then I would normally go with the more harder side, which is near the hook area. Okay, so that is the spatula, although admittedly, again, this is the only spatula that you use when it requires you to put the spatula into your mixing bowl. However, I find that I use my Kuro
Whatever it
Daiso
is.
spatula.
Don't let your maid fry the nasi goreng with that spatula, okay? Don't.
Yeah, don't.
It will melt.
It won't melt because it can withstand high heat. It's just that, it's precious. And why do you want to fry it in the wok when you have a Thermomix, right? So going back to, this is the spatula that I got from good old Daiso. It cost me like 5 ringgit something cents, and this is something that I would scrape down because it's slightly thinner, and I would use this to scrape down my batter, or when I'm making cupcakes and muffins and stuff like that, and it's just so much more easier to maneuver. And because I also sayang my spatula Thermomix kan, so I will always use like the cheaper one just to scrape down on things, and then this one for if I need to take out ingredients, or if I need to use the hook to hook out my simmering basket. Okay, so I think I have covered, oh no, I have not covered everything, because we've got the giant spaceship. So this is your Varoma set. It comprises of the lid, the tray, as well as the dish, okay? And this can fit about 3.3 liters. Also, a big ayam can be fitting inside. You can steam a whole ayam inside. The cover that I have is actually more transparent. This is the better version, or the upgraded version. So you can see, if you've got an older Thermomix 6, TMM6, then you notice that it's transparent and it's a little bit more flimsy. This is much, much better in terms of material. And this is the place where you can steam your rice, you can steam your meats, your proteins, your vegetables, your jars, if you're sterilizing your jars in order to make your strawberry jam, your homemade chicken stock, your condensed milk. So it's a great place for you to steam even your baby bottles, okay? And I love, love, love using the steaming method, because the one thing great about the Thermomix is that it enables you to have multi-layering cooking all at the same time. What am I talking about? Is, let's say down below you're cooking your rice, or you're making your soup, and then after that you put in your vegetables, whatever vegetables that you have, and then you can place also your meats, your salmon, or whatever it is, tofu, egg, and then you can steam it all together, and you've got your whole meal done in a jiffy. So one of the recipes that actually showcases that is in your day 7 of your Perfection with Thermomix in 7 days. It's the 4-course meal, chicken rice. And here, total time of the whole thing, which includes meal prep, is 1 hour and 25 minutes. Okay, so it's right here at the back at day 7, 4-course meal. Although I don't like the steam egg. I'm not a big fan of steam egg. So what I do is I've changed it up. When I tried this out for the first time, I used tofu instead because I love my tofu. And because my kids aren't into steamed chicken, I will still steam the chicken inside the varoma dish. And then I will coat it with a bit of ABC sauce. And then I'll just pop it in my air fryer. So really, the oven is your Thermomix best friend. And if you like things a little bit more crispy, but you still are looking for a more nutritious way of cooking your meals, and you want it to have that crispy texture, then just have an air fryer and you can just pop it in after you steamed and all that. Okay. All right. Now, just a reminder. Please use only official Thermomix accessories. These are the accessories that have been or are, that does come with a Thermomix box. Okay.
Endorsed by Thermomix.
Yes, and authorized by Thermomix. Thank you. So don't use the one non-authorized because it will void your warranty and may cause damage and usage risks. Some people have asked me, Daphne, can I buy? Oh, just a reminder. Now, when you get your Thermomix, you will notice that there's going to be like blue protective stickers on the locking arms. Okay, don't be like my mother, huh? She like to keep all the plastic inside the car, everything, keep the remote control. Also, she put remote control. Yalah, the remote control lah. Also got plastic. She will put everything, bungkus everything. The car seat mask, the down there also got it. Because sayang, nanti kotor. But we don't want that for your Thermomix. You can peel it off because what happens is it may look okay, clean because you takut dia tergaris-garis kan, takut tercala. So the only thing is, even though your locking arms aren't going to be heated up, when you are cooking using your mixing bowl, there will be some heat transferred, and what happens is your protective stickers will then become like really gross and ugly and kerepot, and then by the time you want to remove those protective stickers, then it's going to be harder for you to peel off. There's also going to be a protective screen on your screen here, and it's just like your average one lah that you book up. Please book up. I admittedly became a bit of my mother at that point of time when I first got my Thermomix, and I kept it there for a very long time. And then I realized, kenapa saya tidak boleh swipe ni? Why cannot swipe left or right? And then I realized because all the water, liquids, or some fine ingredients, because this can actually mill your rock sugar into icing sugar powder. And it's so fine, sometimes it will go into
Boleh pakai
the
tu
screen.
iPhone punya screen protector tak?
No, they do have. So that's where I was getting at. So some people at Shopee and Lazada, they do sell the screen protector. I've not had to use it, to be honest, and I just use a clean damp cloth and then wipe it, and then I'll get my window cloth from Noex, of course, and then I'll wipe it clean again, and it's fine. It functions quite fine. So I've never had to use a screen protector. There are some people who ask me, how about the slider? Because remember, you're not supposed to drag your Thermomix. You have to lift it. But then kadang-kadang macam you want to, I don't know why people want to have it up and down for some reason. So there is some people who sell the slider. Again, I think if Warwork wanted to have that accessory, they would have come up with it first. So again, don't use any non-authorized Thermomix accessories because it will void your warranty. All right. So let's start cooking. There are 3 ways of effortless food preparation. We've got, of course, the first one using the Cookie Do, which is a guided cooking. You can browse, you can save recipes and collections, read all these wonderful articles, you can plan your meals and generate a shopping list with your Cookie Do. I would do it over the web or using your device or your phone. You can browse Cookie Do, as I mentioned, via your mobile phone, computer, or your Thermomix TM6. You can bookmark them. I've already spoken to you about that, but just in case you've just joined us, this is one of the great things that the Thermomix is able to offer, and it is free subscription trial for you for the first 6 months upon registration. Okay, so use the filter to search the category of choice. I just go crazy with all of it, and then I will just auto translate using the Chrome that we have over your phone, and then I'll just screenshot it for reference. But yeah, if you want something more easier, then if you just want Chinese recipes or English recipes or Italian, depending on what your language preference is, then you can also filter it down and save those preferences, okay? So for English recipe collections, you can filter by countries: Malaysia, Singapore, UK, Australia, US, etc. For Chinese recipe collections, you can filter by countries: Malaysia, Singapore, China, and Taiwan. Now, accessing your high temperature and sugar stages can only be done via the guided cooking function, okay? So the one thing great also about the Cookie Do is that it has guided recipes with step videos, because we're talking about the Thermomix being used by Michelin starred chefs from all around the world. It's not just for noob cooks like yours truly, but you know, they've got all these really complex, super creative recipes that are also inside the Cookie Do recipe platform. So if you want to attempt to do that, and if you find it's going to be a bit tricky, some of the recipes actually have guided step-by-step videos on how to do it. So for instance, you've got like the quiche Lorraine. That's a little bit tough, especially when you're trying to figure out how to do the pastry, or the quick puff pastry. How do you fold it so that it'll be nice and airy and fluffy? And it'll show you all that, okay? Now let's go into the auto modes, all right? Or some of the features of your Thermomix. So how you access it is you can just swipe to the left, and then you will see all the features by going up and down. This is actually a new update. Before this, you had to keep swiping left and right, but now they're a little bit smarter. They've decided, hey, it's much more easier to go up and down instead, all right? So you've got the scales, the dough, turbo, pre-clean, egg boiler, slow cook, as well as sous vide. These are some of the new features and enhancements for the TM6. And you can actually, so for instance, let's go to the scales. You'll notice that it's -2 and you can tear it. I'm going to talk to you guys a little bit more about that in just a bit, because we're going to go one by the slide. But if you notice, there is also like a little eye. I think the screen is a bit glaring here, but there's an eye here, and that's like an information to learn more about its function. So you can click on the eye icon, and then you can learn more about the pre-clean or whatever you're interested in, looking for more information on that, okay? So let's go into the scale mode first. Oops, let's go back. This is the scale mode. And the maximum weight is 3 kilograms up to 2 times its weight, so about 6 kilograms. I know of one advisor who would use the Thermomix, because the whole unit is not just the mixing bowl, okay? You can even, let's say your mixing bowl is being washed and you want to weigh 50 grams of onions, so you can actually place a bowl there, just tear it or zerify it or reset it, and you can just basically weigh it also at the same time, because this whole thing is a weighing scale. Now, if you want to test the accuracy of your scales, because sometimes you betul ke ni, macam betul tak betul je, what you can do is, again, you can take your measuring cup, and if you weigh it, let's tear it, because here it's so sensitive, about 1 gram, dia punya keralatan. You can just test it. So this one, I'm not sure if it's betul. Okay, 80 grams. It should be about 80 to 85 grams. So that's how you test the accuracy of your scale, okay? Now, while the machine is in operation, you can still weigh ingredients or liquids, and it's only possible up to speed 4. So speed 4 and below, but the interval of the grams, so imagine normally it's about 1 gram interval. For this, if it is on cooking or below speed 4, then it will weigh ingredients up to 5, 10, 15, about 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay? So it's not going to be like up to 1 gram interval. Okay, so that's just a thing that I wanted to highlight. This is the dough mode. Oh, no. Okay. That's not going to happen. Let's just get out from the dough mode. That was turbo, sorry. So this is the dough mode. And I love the dough mode, because it is an excellent way of kneading your dough. Normally, conventionally, if you are doing it by hand, traditional kneading takes a long time. And not just that, but a lot of muscle power. But here, because of the ability of the mixing knife to go clockwise and anti-clockwise, 5 times and then 1 time anti-clockwise, it basically imitates the traditional traditional kneading method, right? And it can only be used when your dough temperature is below 60 degrees Celsius or replaced by speed 5 or 6. So never leave your Thermomix unattended when it is on the kneading mode, and it's normally about 4 minutes or so it's not that long, okay, because it has the tendency of bajoget sikit, and that is the reason why I ask you guys to place your Thermomix at a solid, clean surface, and not too near to the edge, because it has happened to my friend Nabila, where she left it alone and she went to mandi, and then it just sort of toppled over. Thank God nothing happened to it, but she did break her measuring cup, so we don't want that, okay? So we don't want any of you guys to have any mishaps like that. Now, to achieve the best results, use up to 500 grams of flour while the dough mode is in use, okay? So more than that, then it's going to be a bit harder for the machine to knead. But 500 grams of flour is quite a lot, actually, to be quite honest. All right, so let's go into the turbo mode, which I accidentally pressed earlier on. So this is the turbo mode, and it has 0.5 seconds, 1 second, and max 2 seconds, okay? So the temperature, again, inside would normally be about up to 60%, 60 degrees Celsius, sorry. In turbo mode, the mixing knife speeds up to 10,700 RPM, which is the fastest speed that it can go to. So it's really, really fast. Again, normally I would do this with my partners, and then they will demonstrate the lemonade, and you can see just how quickly it will turn the rock sugar into powdery icing sugar. You shouldn't use it for more than 2 seconds. So normally if they want it to be a bit more finer, then they'll just go for 2 seconds. So let's say 2 seconds, and then it'll go, and it'll stop, and you want to do it again, so twice, okay? The locking arms only open once you leave the turbo mode. So once you go into that icon of the house, and that's when the locking arms open, because I tried it before and I'm like, how do I get out of the turbo mode? So that is like a safety precaution from the Thermomix. And do not use turbo mode for hot food or liquid over 60 degrees Celsius, okay? So that's something about the turbo mode. This is the pre-clean mode. And this is another thing that I love because I'm such a lazy person. And again, you will see all these, a little more information of what is what. In case you aren't, you're not listening into this, at least then you will know that there's dough, the universal, fat or browning, so you know exactly what mode would be best to clean the ingredients inside your mixing bowl, okay? So dough would be, to clean the dough when you're cooking your breads and your pizza doughs and your batter, so that will go about 37 degrees Celsius. For universal, which would be like your curries or your sambals or something with a bit of oil, then that would be about 55 degrees Celsius. For fat or caramel, which is a little bit more sticky, then it'll go a little bit higher at 75 degrees Celsius. And then for browning, when there's a bit of browning because you're browning your meats below and there's a bit of like marks at the bottom of your mixing bowl, then it will go in varoma where it will steam it, and hopefully by then, if you steam it long enough with the pre-clean, again, it's all automated. You put in a bit of washing liquid. Some people have used vinegar just so that there's nice gleam to it, or baking soda, or lemon juice, in fact, or putting in the lemon rinds, or even eggs to clean their mixing bowl. Then you can do that according to your needs of your pre-clean. Okay, so preset at approximately 8 minutes up to speed 5, and that's why when you are using the pre-clean mode, do not ever put in your butterfly whisk, because what is the maximum, guys? Yes, maximum is speed 4. So don't do that, because when you are doing the pre-clean mode, it can go beyond speed 4, in fact speed 5 and above. So it will be able to clean up after processing different types of foods in the mixing bowl. Place a maximum of 1 liter of water. Don't go too much, because later on it'll bubble up, especially if you've got some dish liquid inside, dishwashing liquid inside. You can also add in 1 tablespoon of vinegar or a drop of dishwashing, as I mentioned, before running the mode, either dough, universe, fat, or caramel only. Now for browning, use only vinegar. So if there's browning at the bottom of your lid, your mixing bowl, then just use only vinegar or half a teaspoon of dishwasher powder to avoid too much foam from flowing. And then again, remember to put your measuring cup on the cover lid so that it doesn't spatter up, okay? This is a new feature that was introduced early this year also. It's called the egg boiler. And the egg boiler mode is this one. It has soft all the way to hard. I'm not sure about you guys. I love mine hard boiled, but I know some people are very specific about how their eggs, how they like their eggs. Some like it a little bit more runny. My husband likes his to be medium soft. Belle likes it to be medium hard. And the trick to using the egg boiler feature is to get your eggs, make sure it's clean and everything, and just pop them in the fridge, because then it will be it will cook it nicer lah. That way it's definitely going to be like the perfect egg that you want. In my case, because I just like mine hard, I'm like, it's okay, room temperature or not, it's going to be perfect anyway, right? So again, place 1 to a maximum of 6 eggs, so you can place it in between the blades. Size M, preferably. Cold from the fridge into the mixing bowl. And without the stirring basket, just cover the eggs with water. No need to set the cooking time, just choose the desired cooking point with selector. So again, if you are choosing either soft or all the way to hard, just do that, and then it will auto set for you. And then you pour the cooked eggs into a simmering basket, all right, and run cold water over the eggs to avoid it from overcooking, okay, especially if you are specifically looking for runny eggs or soft boiled eggs, all right. Next one is the slow cook mode, which is also here. And the slow cook mode is a speed that is auto-programmed. And what happens is the mixing knife will stop rotating within a 1 minute interval. So it will just turn and then it will stop. It's basically just enough to kacau the ingredients, but then it slow cooks again. So this is great if you're braising your stews, or you're making your ginseng chicken soup. You know, if you're in pantang and stuff and you want to really get the goodness of all those herbs and spices, then yeah, go ahead with the slow cook. And to achieve the best result, use a maximum of 800 grams of meat with sauce and other ingredients. Acidic ingredients shall be added to avoid the possibility of oxidation. So normally, if you're using a slow cook recipe, then it will probably ask you to use something acidic like lemon juice or ascorbic acid or something similar to that, okay, to prevent oxidation of your mixing knife. And then, of course, there is the sous vide mode. And this is precise cooking at your comfort with 1 degree Celsius accuracy in temperature. I've tried this with the salmon. Again, the salmon sous vide is found in your 7-day perfection plan here. All right, so you can try that out. And don't worry if you don't have a vacuum sealer. I've seen even chefs from all around the world where they use those Ziplocs, and then they just try and remove as much air as possible after they put in all the salt, pepper, the herbs and lemon and stuff like that, or oil, whatever is required for that recipe in that sous vide. Usually we keep it really simple with the ingredients, and then they just remove as much as they can from the air from the plastic, and then just Ziploc it, just sort of fold it in, and then put it into your simmering basket if it's for salmon. But if it's for your meats, which is something a little bit more bigger or chunkier, then you can use your cover blade. But yeah, again, like I said, the cover blade here in Malaysia is out of stock, so boo-hoo, that sucks, isn't it? But yeah, if you don't have a vacuum sealer, the sous vide vacuum sealer, then that is a method. That's one option. Another option is I can share it with you guys. If you are interested, just PM me. There is this YouTube, or you can just Google in YouTube. If you don't have a vacuum sealer, there is a method where you can just slowly put it in to a bucket of water, and then it will slowly seal the pressure out, or remove all the extra air from the plastics out into the and seal and make it like vacuum sealed lah. All right, so put your ingredients in a vacuum bag and place it into the simmering basket or on top of the blade cover. Cover with water in the mixing bowl, and then you can remove the vacuum bag using tongs, because it's quite hot, even though the temperature's not panas like 100 whatever. It's normally, if I'm using I think for salmon it was about 54 if I'm not mistaken, and sometimes it's even lower if you want it to be rare, your meats to be rare. All right, and then again, refer to the blade cover digital guide for more information. Okay, so you can actually find a lot of information from the recipe community sharing groups that we have over Facebook, as well as our team. We are more than happy to tell you a little bit more, because we've got a few guys who are such sous vide experts already, so they would be more than happy to tell you about which specific temperature would be suitable for which particular daging and which part of the daging, okay? Then there is the rice cooker mode, although admittedly I still prefer cooking my rice using this, but the rice cooker mode is normally used when you are cooking like biryani rice or tomato rice or something which has more flavor or in bigger capacity, because like I said, this is the maximum that can go in for this is about 350 grams of rice. I would normally gam about 3 put nasi lah macam tu, 3 put beras, and then I'll put it in, wash it. So I still prefer cooking my rice using the method of my simmering basket. But yeah, you can also cook it directly into your mixing bowl. And the rice cooker mode is there. It's approximately about 30 minutes to get your rice cooked, and you can just follow the instructions over your cookie dough. But it's really best for parboiled long grain rice, white basmati rice, bulgur wheat, and other grains. So maybe this would be an option for more hardier rice. Okay, so always use the simmering basket instead of the measuring cup on the mixing bowl lid. So when you are cooking using the rice cooker mode, so you take out the measuring cup and you use this instead to prevent the starch or the ingredients from popping out, because it will become a bit frothy. All right, so this is another method. So you had your measuring cup to ensure that your lid is covered. You've got your splash guard. Another way is using your simmering basket, all right, as indicated here. And then the ratio of the water will depend on the type of grain you are using, as well as the brand and amount of grain. Okay, so yeah, again, we've got like a whole manual for rice cooking alone, so I won't get into that, but it is an amazing way of cooking your rice more healthily. And if you are doing something like a 1-pot rice meal, then this is the perfect mode to be using. Okay, so this is just an indication of jasmine rice, basmati rice, brown rice. You will notice that for jasmine rice, you don't have to put in that much of water compared to basmati as well as brown rice, because it's more hardier. Okay, so boil the rice to 100 degrees Celsius. That will be the normal boiling rate, or use hot water to cook the rice to get better rice texture. Now, when the rice is cooked, let the rice rest in the mixing bowl for 2 to 5 minutes before transferring it into your thermoserver or your dish bowl, and it's ready to serve, so that it can really, like, you know, then you'll find that the beras or the nasi is so gebu and so fluffy and so yummy. Okay, and again, if you're using the simmering basket method, then you just let it cool down a little bit, 2 minutes, 5 minutes macam tu, just let it be there, and then after that, baru pour it into your thermoserver or your bowl. Okay, and then you'll notice just how fluffy it is, but it tastes still so good, but it's much more healthy because all the extra starch has now been drained and it's into your mixing bowl already. Okay. All right, for manual cooking, this is where we're going to zoom in. So this is the dial selector, and then you've got your time, your temperature, as well as your speed. All right, then you can tap to change accordingly to what you want, time, temperature, or speed, or you can also use the dial selector to move from one to another, time, temperature, or speed. Okay, so when the recipe requires you to go on reverse mode, you will see that there is this like a mixing knife icon there. Just tap on it once and you will see that it is reverse enabled. Okay, and then to disable it, then you just click on it again. All right, so you will notice that from reverse, it can go from spoon, 0.5, 1, and all the way atas. But normally when you're going reverse, you're trying to stir it without, cutting or chopping your ingredients, right? You're just stirring it nicely. So you normally won't go beyond 1 or 3, actually, to be quite honest. And then you can just disable it. And the same way for if it's disabled and you're mixing, it would be about 1 to 3, speed 3. And then as you progress to faster speed, then that will be where you are going into blending and grinding, and it can go all the way to speed 10. Okay, and I would normally just go slow when I am blending my hot food. Like if you're making pumpkin soup, then you want to gradually move from 6, let's say 5, speed 5, all the way to 10, because it's still very, very panas. Okay, Now, let's say your daughter kan main-main lah. I said, okay, girl, put for 4 minutes only for the time. And then she went a bit cuckoo and she went like, oh no, it went 51. And you're like, oh my God, now I have to like go all the way back. You can actually just reset it by pressing longer on the dial. Let's say it was on the time and it will just reset itself to 0. Okay? So heating is only activated, just remember this, when cooking time is set and will be disabled at speed 6 or higher. All right? So for general cooking, the temperature will be about 100 degrees Celsius. For sauteing and stir frying, it will be about 120 degrees, which is perfect because let's say you are cooking using your olive oil. And you know that olive oil is not a high heat oil, right? You don't want to go beyond 120 because then it will be bad for you because it will have it will be toxic for your health when it goes when it burns instead of being cooked at the right temperature. So this is great. 120 is a perfect temperature for you to saute and stir fry your vegetables, so the nutrients of your vegetables are still intact, and then it's still beautifully colored. It's not going to be like buruk and busuk and busuk looking lah. No, it won't be busuk lah, but it will be like buruk looking kan if you're cooking it over the stove, because the stove can go as high as 180 degrees Celsius, right, and higher. Now for steaming, when you're steaming using your Varoma dishes, then you want to make sure that there's at least 500 grams of liquid inside your mixing bowl, okay? Water, or if there's going to be soup inside or whatever, at least there's 500 grams of water for up to 30 minutes of steaming. Now, beyond that, you have to add in another 250 grams of liquid for every additional 15 minutes of steaming. So again, refer to your basic cookbook to see just how long is required to cook any particular meats or vegetables or etc. And you're not certain, then you can always refer to your basic cookbook at the back for some guidance there, right? So to reduce liquid in dishes, you can also use the Varoma temperature. So in this case, let's say I'm making my beef stew, alright? And then because, yalah, daging tu ada air juga, bah, dia punya vegetable dalam carrot semua pun ada air kan, jadi macam, oh no, macam terlampau cecair pula. And instead of using corn flour or instead of using your leftover rice flour, rice water, then another option is to thicken it using the Varoma temperature during the last 3 minutes of cooking, and then it's nice, it will sort of thicken it up. Actually, there is a thicken mode also here, but I've never actually used it. There's a thicken mode. There you go. Where is it? There. I've actually never had to try using it before. I just Varoma my dishes during the last 2-3 minutes, okay? And again, to blend hot food, remember to start at speed 6 and then you increase it gradually to the desired speed, because you want to make sure that the your knife is not rosak, your device will tahan lebih lama, okay? Alright. Now always check the cooking midway and use the spatula to stir your ingredients when you are cooking over 20 minutes. Make sure that any other kitchen appliances as well as utensils, cooking with insufficient liquids may cause burns. So be careful about that, especially when you are steaming your meats and vegetables. So again, 500 grams for 30 minutes of steaming. An additional 15 minutes, you have to add in about at least 250 grams of liquid or water, all right? Ensure ingredients to be chopped or crushed. So someone yesterday asked us over our cooking demo whether we can put in like a whole lemon inside. Now, the rule of thumb is whatever ingredients that can fit into this hole, that will be the ideal size. However, I still make it a habit, even though this thing can chop and blend and do wonders with the knife because it's like really super powerful, the Moto 10,700 RPM. I will still cut it at, smaller size because I want to maintain my knife, all right? Remember to add in juice, or in my case, I bought mine from Elements ascorbic acid, into your liquid or into your water when you are sous videing, because you don't want to oxidate your mixing knife, because again, once you go black, you can't go back. And then you will find the basic cookbook as well as the favorite collections from your Thermomix via your menu, my recipes, and save collection. So it would have been saved there already. So just in case, like they've got this apple cake recipe which takes only like 20 seconds to make. I kid you not, okay? And if you don't want to carry this around because you've got like some favorite recipes here, you can actually find the collection also inside your Thermomix, which has already been pre-saved in advance, okay? And that will be over your My Recipe Saved collection. You can also select your preferred melody. So in my case, it's a guitar sound. There's also the chiming duration, because if you I've just left mine to go chiming all the way until I'm there to stop it, right? Because it's just something that I need, because I'm constantly, when it's cooking, I'm doing something else, either I'm with the kids or I'm working or I'm on the phone. So I let my chiming duration just go on and on and on, but you can choose it to be shorter if you want to. You can also select the brightness via the settings and sound of display, all within the settings of your Thermomix, okay? And if you are traveling with your Thermomix, I think this is something that some of my advisors also don't know, is you can just go to the settings, which is here, and there would be a transport mode here. So you can just press on that, and then you can activate the transportation mode so that it will be able to transport your Thermomix safely. All right, and then as soon as you touch down and you're ready to use a Thermomix, just switch on your selector dial, and then the transportation mode will automatically go off. All right, the Thermomix warranty information. So this is important also for Malaysia and Brunei. It warrants products contained in the original packaging against defects in materials and workmanship when used in accordance with Thermomix user manual for a period of 24 months, which is 2 years. All right, 12 months, of course, for commercial usage. Like if you're using it in the restaurant and stuff, then it's only 12 months from the date of delivery. So just again, reminder that all consumables or accessories, which include your mixing knife, mixing bowl, spatula, butterfly whisk, are generally non-serviceable items that go through usage, wear and tear, because yeah, you are using it. So that won't be, you can't go and say like, oh no, look at my spatula, it looks buruk already, I want a replacement. No, unfortunately that doesn't happen here because it's usage of wear and tear. However, if there's something wrong with your motor, although I've used this for about a year plus already, and so far, touch wood, I've not had to send it over to the service center. These accessories can be bought over your club store. You can ask your advisor to find out how you can purchase it, or you can be a club member on Thermomix and you can also purchase it yourself. But yeah, so that's the reason why we highly recommend you not to use non-Thermomix accessories, okay? Because it will void your warranty, right? So this is the Thermomix resources that I would ask you to go to, thermomix.com.my. Of course, your Cookie-Doo account, Thermomix Truly Asian, and Cooking at Your Fingertips are the two Facebook pages that I would recommend, because they have got like all these fantastic recipes shared by all users from Asian region and Malaysia, Singapore, Brunei. Follow Malaysia's Thermomix Facebook page, YouTube, Instagram. I know Vicky and her team are doing such an excellent job in creating up-to-date content about that. For Brunei, it'll be in Thermomix Brunei, and of course you've also have your Thermomix Brunei Instagram page, okay? Now, for those of you who are watching and are still sitting on the fence, thinking, should I not? Should I get my Thermomix? Should I invest in it? Well, if you've not watched a demo, then let me know, because I can actually conduct one for you guys, either virtually, or we're starting to plan our group face-to-face demos now that everything is going back to sort of now normal. So if you've never watched a demo, that's one great thing. But if you've already watched a demo and you're like, yeah, now that I've seen this unboxing, I'm quite sure that I want the Thermomix right now, this will be the best time to buy it before the 1st of November, because it will be shipped out within 7 days. We did have some delivery delays in June, July, and August because of the MCO, and then we had like a huge peak of sales of people wanting to buy the Thermomix, so we didn't have enough stock. We had to fly it in, ship it in from global. But now we've got the stock, everything has been Serum certified, and we are able to give you an awesome October if you purchase it before the 1st of November, and you'll receive it within a week. If you pay online using cash, then you can get this carry bag, which I must say is so worth it. This is something that I use when I'm traveling. So it fits all your Thermomix as well as accessories beautifully. You can just pop it into the car, or you can put it in the cabin. Just make sure that if you're traveling by flight, then you have to make sure that the mixing knife will have to be in your luggage, okay? It can't be brought onto the cabin, okay? So that is worth 380 ringgit, and I heard that the stocks are running low.
Oh, don't put it in the cargo. You can bring it in the cabin, right?
You can bring in the cabin, but the mixing knife has to go into your luggage. So you can just wrap it up with some paper or some kain or whatever lah, to prevent it from apalah. Because it's a knife kan, nanti bahaya kan. It'll go through, nanti kau kena buang kau punya knife, sayang. However, if you're paying 6988 using your credit card, or then you will get a free cookbook, and this is the free cookbook that they're offering for this promotion, the Easy Meals. And if you host a cooking experience, so once you purchase your Thermomix and then you host a cooking show for your family and friends with your advisor, then these are the premium Thermomix gifts for you, which is consisting of 7. This is the first time ever, guys, that Thermomix is offering like a 7-set host gift. So you've got your what's this, muffin holders, you've got your steaming plate, stainless steel, you've got those covers, you've got the trivet, and this is worth 360 ringgit, guys. So that basically wraps up my unboxing for today. Wow, not bad. Normally, if I'm doing it with the friends, we take about 1.5 hours to 1 hour 45 minutes, and that includes a bit of cooking because we showcase how to do it with rice and lemonade and egg boiling most of the time. But if you have any more questions, and if you are keen to find out a little bit more about Thermomix, please feel free to speak to me or my other Diva partners. We'll be more than happy and more than delighted to answer your queries. And are there any questions coming from anyone there? Tak ada sangat dah. Yeah, because I'm a popecking on ni kan. Normally ini macam ada interactive sikit kalau pakai tu Zoom, tapi begitulah. At least I've got this on record. Alright, so with that, ladies and gentlemen, this marks the end of our unboxing and finding out a little bit more about what's in your Thermomix TM6 box. My name is Daphne Eiking. It's been a pleasure sharing my joy and obsession with the Thermomix. I'll see you around. Take care.